Okay, would you spend $3,000 on a Gucci purse, Naperia? Would you spend $3,000 on a Gucci purse?
Talking to me or Shannon first?
Naperia, would you spend $3,000 on a Gucci purse?
Personally, no, I would not spend $3,000 on a Gucci purse, even if I had it. My main reason is because I believe in building generational wealth. I have 5 children. I would make sure they got stocks and bonds and all my ducks is in a row. So consciously, I cannot see justifying having a $3,500 purse, especially when there's so many other things that's needed to build what you call true generational wealth. There's this thing where we could be hundredaires, that means you got some hundreds in the bank, and then you can have thousands in the bank, and then you can even have 1,000,000 in the bank. But if it's not doing and making money or being where it can create more wealth, then once you spend it, it's gone. So just spending that kind of money without setting a marker for my kids, my great grandkids to have that money, eventually, then no, I can't justify it. And it doesn't even matter how much I see on Love and Hip Hop or any of those other things.
Okay, what about you, Chane?
No, especially if I don't have priorities straight. I'm gonna make sure, my rent paid, car insurance and whatnot, car note, everything I need to pay. Did I put some savings to the side for a rainy day fund? Did I invest in some stocks? Because that's gonna grow my money, for retirement. So I can't justify buying $3,000 a purse if I don't have $3,000 in my purse, on my bank account or whatnot. If I don't have that money, I can't justify that. Mm-mm.
Okay, well, society may give one the reason to believe that, having a Gucci or a Birkin bag, or, having a specific type of man, or how to obtain a specific type of man is viable to everyday life and obtainable, in itself. But you might not be qualified, to get what you're looking for. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm saying that to say, like, we the biggest consumers of everything, but we don't own anything, nothing. Why? Do you think it's because we're trying to keep up with the Joneses? Do you think it's because we haven't been taught anything? Do you think our ancestors dropped the ball? What's your thoughts?
Well, my thought is it's a mixture of all of that. In the beginning, you got to understand that our wealth was taken from us. So then, as we saw the other generation, particularly we're saying Caucasians, start having things, we wanted the thing. But what we're not looking at is the things that we are now wanting, that they tell us that we need, that make us appear to be wealthy. It came up under foundation for them. So they built ladders and ladders and ladders. And so they got a strong foundation. So the things that they make, or all the fancy stuff they tell you that symbolizes wealth, they got the structure behind it. So our problem come in is because we don't have the bones. We don't have the same structure. We're not built under that same skeleton. So we can't do what they do, and we can't have what they have at that moment. I'm not saying don't have it, don't have the riches. I'm saying that we need the structure to be able to obtain those riches, to be able to sustain those riches. Because even if you get it, if you buy 300 pair of Jordans, $300 Jordans, because your foot is a size 12, and you buy 50 of them, but you got 5 kids, tell me how that's practical. So you spent $3,000 on shoes for your feet that's going to wear out, but you don't have anything in a trust fund or a bond or something that's growing that's going to materialize your kids some wealth. So the reason why we have this gap is because we didn't have that time that they had. They stole it all. There was just an article today that I read about a beachfront property where there was a booming Black resort that was in California that the Caucasians was angry about. So they stole it from them and put legal laws against it and bankrupt the family. And now the government just signed the law again 100 years later, giving the family back its property. But look how much generational wealth they lost.
Mm-hmm.
Right, they actually suffered in real time. So what's your thoughts, Chane?
I agree with Naperia. I mean, I feel like, as you know, Black people, we really got to get our priorities straight, and we really need to focus on that generational wealth, because the wealth gap is so large compared to white and Black people. It's a large gap, and it might take generation upon generation to even catch up. Because like Napier said, they did steal everything, and they have like hundreds of years head start against us. So trying to focus on looking rich and having all this designer, that's not the priority. The priority is building the generational wealth. I want to have money, enough money to, okay, I left my nephew some money. I left my nieces some money. Oh, they gonna have this house, and that, I'm gonna, pass this house down to them, and they wouldn't have to hurt for nothing. That's what we need to be focusing on, building our wealth and trying to get up to speed, because the wealth gap is huge.
I agree. And another thing, you can correlate this to sheep society, like in the Black community, we always kicking our kids out when they 18, as opposed to other ethnicities. Their kids go to school, they graduate from college, they come home and stack money for 3 years, then they go and be off about their business. So they have money stacked, they have a good support system, and they put in a position to be successful. You understand what I'm saying? When we automatically owe when we get out of college, we automatically owe somebody. We already in the hole as it is. So we're gonna drop the mic on Riders Live. Naperia, what's your final thoughts?
Well, my final thoughts is this. My dad taught me some years ago when I wanted the big Nikes and the what was the Barclays and the Jordans, because those were the big things in my day. He's like, look, you can go and pick out the shoe, but you can't buy that shoe. It was like, you look at that shoe, you buy a shoe because it's necessary. You put half of that money up, and then you go buy a pair of shoes because you got to wear it. And then let that money grow for you. Do things with yourself, with your money. So my final thought is, I don't want to follow the Joneses. I'm not jumping off the Brooklyn Bridge just because you did. I don't want to drown. I want to live. I want my kids to live, and I want to pass them on generational wealth.
All right. We're dropping the mic, Chane. What's your last thoughts?
You do have to keep up with the Joneses. You can still dress stylish and look good, on a budget. Have your priorities straight. That's what you need to focus on, not looking rich and being poor. When the poor people, the rich people be looking homeless half the time. They don't put all that, energy in looking rich and having this designer bag and this nice BMW car, Lexus or whatever the hot car is, and all this mess. When you need to be looking at building that generational wealth and leaving a legacy for your children, your nieces and nephews, or whoever in your family. That's the focus, not this following mess with, oh, I got to have the latest shoes and the Birkin bags and all that mess. Let's build generational wealth.
Hey, I appreciate y'all dropping the mic on Riders Live. I also appreciate Brian Redmond, our other guest from the Relationship Rehab and United Guns of America, for sitting in on the show. He had to go. And this has been the Sheep Society on Riders Live. Thank you, ladies.
You're welcome.
Thanks for having me.